So you guys are a law enforcement elite, right?
Yes.
And now we're very new to this scene and all the different symbols and everything that's going on. But most of the other MCs, like they flat out, when we sat down with the Rogue Souls, they said like law enforcement and motorcycle clubs don't really commingle. Has that been a problem for you guys from outside clubs, or they just steer clear completely from you?
No, so every once in a while we'll get checked to see if they can push us around. And I worked in the prison. I worked max, death row. Like, sorry, you don't scare me.
Not scary.
I've been face to face with true, genuine evil.
Yeah.
You've experienced that, I guarantee it, working in the prison. Like, there are some people that just have that black shroud around them, and yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do my thing, but a big thing with that is they don't realize is we're just like them. We have that longing for brotherhood, for that camaraderie of like-minded people and people that you want to surround yourself with. And with law enforcement, we need that time to decompress. And
a safe place.
And a safe place. And that's where, at least for me, I can speak for myself, is that's where I find the law enforcement motorcycle club, because I have a true passion for motorcycles. I absolutely love them. To where, like, I get paid to ride a Harley. Then I go home and ride a couple more Harleys. And I want to start a business educating and training people on Harleys and or even motorcycles. Doesn't matter. But,
he just doesn't want to train them on the BMWs. That's why he's going to leave it to me.
Yeah.
I appreciate your commitment to it, honestly.
Yeah. But I really, that is my way of decompressing and being able to get a lot of the stresses out, because I'm like a normal guy. I don't go to therapy. I know it helps people. I have gone to a therapy session. It wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. This is my outlet. I've seen some pretty gruesome things, especially being the fatal accident investigator. And I can tell you there are times where I have to get on my bike and ride just to
cook it out.
Yep. And that's what the Brotherhood is about too, is we are in similar situations where we can really lean on each other and trust each other, but we also have that passion for motorcycles and that brotherhood and that camaraderie. And to the ones that say, oh, law enforcement has no business in the motorcycle club world, I'm sorry, but I wholeheartedly disagree.
We all get an
We're some of the
opinion.
best riders
So-
in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, and do I have anything against any of those other clubs? Absolutely not, because they found a group for them that they can bond with and have that passion. And this is my group, and we all have the same passion, and I get along with them, they get along with me, and we really do care about each other. And so really, like, doesn't matter your background, your club, organization, you want to be a lone wolf, doesn't matter, as long as you have that brotherhood, have that camaraderie, or are able to decompress that way. So this is my club, and I absolutely love it. And
Hell yeah, that is a great answer. I love
Phenomenal
that answer.
answer, yeah.
The thing that when we started to put our group together, and no comparison, of course, you guys have been around a long time, but this is a missing link that I think is happening in our culture right now amongst men, is a place, and I don't like to use the word safe, but let's just say safe. I can hang out with these guys. I trust these guys. I trust them to ride with them. They ride like I do. They're not doing some crazy shit. You know what I mean?
That's a completely different topic.
There's some crazy shit, but it's within the realm of crazy shitness. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is just my crew, and I can ride with these boys, and I know that the guy behind me is safe, and the guy in front of me is safe, and I can pull over and I can be like, man, you're not going to believe the week I just had, and I can have that space, and I just think it's incredibly rare anymore. And when we were talking about it, how like our fathers in that generation, there was like bowling leagues and baseball teams and all kinds of things where these dudes were getting together and just hanging out and doing nothing except for hanging out and doing something that they enjoy doing together. It just doesn't happen anymore, especially since we've had COVID. There's just this huge separation happening, and I think that there's a lot of isolation happening amongst men. And so I'm a huge supporter of, like, I don't care what you're doing, but get to doing it with other dudes because that have the same interests or goals or direction. It could be the gym. There's a guy that is part of our club. He's part of an RC club. Mm-hmm. Those radio cars, man, he loves those guys, and those are his boys. And I think that's where it's at. I think we need to promote more of this because it's healthy for us. Us guys need some dude time.
Oh, absolutely.
I have 4 daughters.
Oh, you need it more than anyone.
Yeah, get me out of the house, man. I got to do some.
To rescue him from time to time.
Help! I always joke there's a lot of crying and whining, and that's me. Just got to go into my room after a while. Just leave me alone. I'm going on a ride, man.
Do you also find that the bathroom is your safe place?
Yeah. Or on the bike. I got 2 spots. It's safe.
Well, yeah. When you're at the house, you're like, you go inside, you lock yourself. Leave me alone.
Yeah. My hideout.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kind of going along with that is we currently have a prospect. He is younger in his law enforcement career to the point where he is always on alert, always watching everything, hyper alert, hyper aware. And I'm sure you've experienced it, is where you actually get burned out very quickly because you are always on edge.
Yeah, you can't sustain
And when he started hanging around with us, like, he was very quiet, very reserved, and he was just watching everybody. And seeing him come into our group and starting to open up, he's actually been able to relax because he knows he's feeling that camaraderie, that brotherhood of, I can trust these guys
to be myself,
and I can actually decompress and not have to be hyper vigilant all the time. And that's really what it is too. It's time to decompress. I can relax because I know these guys have my back.
Sure.
Now, to your point that you said, when you said you didn't want to say the word safe space, I think that's actually one of the best terms that you could put for it. I know that term gets thrown around in other contexts, but for us and for you, like, the way that we feel safe is so much different than the way the general public would say they feel safe. So for one of us to say that I feel safe with this group of people, I know I can drink with you, I know I can ride with you, I know I can confide in you. To that point, like when I had my accident, thankfully I was riding with one of our brothers, and he put out a text in the chat, and when I wake up in the hospital, I'm looking at his face, who is standing over me, and he's on the phone with my dad. I'm trying to get him out here and getting somebody out to me.
Oh, brother.
So, knowing that I have these kind of people in my life, it is in fact a safe space.
Yeah.
Just to throw it out, I was actually literally on my way to Sturgis.
He was going to vacation and stopped his vacation because
it's that important.
I was in the hospital.
Wow, powerful.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I think about my time in law enforcement, and some of the only guys I could confide in were in the business, because you can't. How do you explain that accident? How do you explain that horse thing that happened where people are going to be like, dude, I get it. This is how I dealt with it. This is how I got through it, because you can't explain the way that those experiences will bubble up into your marriage, or they'll bubble up into your relationship in all these other spaces, because that is something you can't unsee, and you've got to have a place where you can unload it a little bit. And do you do it through therapy or journaling or drinking or other behaviors that sometimes law enforcement go into, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier with that mental health awareness that you guys have and the support that you're putting out there, because there's no safe place that you can unload or download that bullshit that sometimes builds up. And if you don't have a place to go like this, where do you go? Yeah. You go to divorce.
You go to the bottle.
You go to the bottle. I knew a lot of heavy drinkers that were in the business back then, and I wasn't a drinker back then, and I just remember feeling like a tremendous amount of like, what the fuck do I do with all of this, you know? And so it never really occurred to me the value of what you guys are doing for one another or showing up in that light. That's amazing. So thank you for sharing that. That's powerful stuff.